can I just mention a few housekeeping issues for today and for the benefit of the public, please, who may be viewing this meeting today. The meeting is being live streamed on the internet and will also be recorded for archive purposes. When we come to part 2 item on the agenda, if the committee do move part 2, then obviously the live stream will cease. For those taking part in the meeting, for the members who I can see are here today, please would you mute your microphones until called by the chair to speak. Should you wish to speak, please could you use the raise your hand function in the Teams facility, or if that isn't working and your camera is on, please raise your hand so the chair can see that you wish to speak. The chair requests that we limit the use of the chat facility only if you need to let us know you've got technical difficulties. That's fine, but please, all discussions should really be made in the meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Well, good morning, everybody. I think we ought to introduce ourselves in case there are members of the public who are watching and wonder who we are. I'm Richard Hendicott. I'm an independent member and I'm chairman. Lorna.
Good morning. My name is Lorna Tinsley and I'm vice chair.
Gerwin.
Good morning. I'm Gerwin Watkins. I'm a co-opted member.
Ronnie. You're on mute, I'm afraid.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Ronnie Alexander. I'm a co-opted member.
Pat.
Good morning. My name is Pat Hallett and I'm an independent member.
Sorry to be formal. Councillor Birch.
Good morning. I'm Rhiannon Birch. I'm a county council member.
And then Councillor Gray.
Good morning. I'm Ben Gray, Northern Vale County Borough Councillor.
I think that's everybody, isn't it? And here we've got the democratic officer. I think. Is that the correct terminology?
So I'm Debbie Mars. I'm the monitoring officer, head of legal and democratic services, and I'm joined by my colleague Karen Bowen, who's the principal democratic services officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, item 1. Are there any apologies for absence? Yes, Chair. Councillor Mike Cuddy and Councillor Robertson. Thank you. Item 2, minutes of the meeting held on the 25th of November. Hopefully you've read those. I've read them through. There are no issues arising for me. Has anybody got any points to raise? Quite a few shakings of heads. No hands up? No? Good. Well, we'll take that as being a true record of those of the meeting. You want me to sign them now, or?
Oh, we can do that at the end of the
meeting. Do that at the end. Thank you. Right. Next item is to receive declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? Again, lots of shakings of heads, and but nobody has got their hand up, so nobody has any declaration to put forward today. So we move on to the reports of the monitoring officer. Number 4 is the applications for dispensation. I understand there haven't been any.
We haven't received any. The report was put on the agenda as a Holden report in case we received any late applications, but as we haven't, there's no business under that item.
Thank you. Item 5, the Standards Conference Wales, February 2022.
Thank you, Chair. So this report provides an overview of the agenda which we've been provided for the conference, and that's attached at Appendix 1. The conference will be held on the 9th of February. It will be on a virtual platform rather than in person. And because it's on via virtual platform, there's no restriction as to the numbers that may attend that. And I think my colleague Karen Bowen is asking for those members who wish to attend, who haven't had the opportunity to contact her yet, to contact her as soon as possible, or in her absence, Amy Rudman, so that we can provide the necessary details to the organiser of the event. So yes, nothing further really to comment. Other than I will be attending also, and you will note in particular, Richard Penn will be presenting, and he'll be referring to his independent review of the ethical standards framework, a piece of work that he undertook last year. And of particular note, Welsh Government colleagues will also be presenting their response, which I think will be of particular interest. So yes, I'd certainly recommend that members attend if they're able to.
Thank you. Well, I intend attending remotely.
Chair, I have had confirmation from members already.
Good.
That they will be in attendance. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Fine. Anybody want to raise any points on that? No, nobody seems to have a problem there. Next item is the monitoring officers' meetings with the clerks of the town and community councils.
Yes.
Debbie?
Thank you, Chair. This is a standard report that I bring just to provide members with an overview of the ongoing meetings that I have with clerks to town community councils. Obviously, that's an open invite to all of the 26 town and community council clerks. And a brief overview of the items which were covered as part of the discussion is set out in paragraph 2.2 of the report. I did touch upon some of the items at our last meeting, being on the 25th of November, but that gives you a précis of the topics of discussion at the meeting. Nothing further to add unless members have any queries.
Do you want to deal with the Southern-on-Avonmouth Community Council?
What I can mention is, as members will note at paragraph 2.2, that one of the items that I put on the agenda for the monitoring officer and clerks meeting was the Audit Wales public interest report relating to Southern-on-Avonmouth Community Council, and we did have a discussion at the group as part of a lessons learnt process. The chair and myself will be meeting with the clerk and the chair and vice chair of that community council on Monday of next week, when we'll be also discussing matters raised in the Audit Wales report.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on that or any points anybody wants to make? No? No? Quiet. Right.
So are members happy to note the report and
Yes.
the officer recommendation?
Presumably, we're happy to note that. Good. Next item is the draft member induction and development programme 2022.
Thank you, Chair. This report gives an overview to members of the work which is ongoing primarily by my colleagues in Democratic Services and in consultation with our senior leadership team in preparing the induction training post the local elections in May. It also provides an excellent overview of the induction programme and the feedback from the induction programme for the 2017 session, which has very much informed the programme which will be presented and take place following the local elections. You'll also appreciate the structuring of that programme. Colleagues have been mindful, obviously, of the need to ensure that training on Members' Code of Conduct and the ethical framework takes place early on in that programme, certainly prior to any formal meetings of the council. As members may be aware, members of the council will be required to sign to undertake and to abide by the Members' Code of Conduct at the point that they sign their acceptance of office. So obviously the sooner the training can take place, the better. So we have 2 sessions planned, one for the 11th and one for the 12th of May. And then the remainder of the training programme has been timetabled to ensure that training is provided to members on particular topics ahead of relevant meetings. So it's brought to members for information, so that there's an awareness of the training that is ongoing. And certainly, I know it's a point that has been raised with colleagues about access to the ethics and standards training for members of this committee, and that, of course, there is that opportunity for members of this committee to attend. The independent members and also co-opted members will be invited to attend, or those who are anticipated will be co-opted members. So it will be an open session. It won't be the end of training on ethics and standards. Regularly throughout the year, when we have new co-opted members, they will be given the opportunity of having a training session, and indeed I will be factoring in refresh sessions throughout the 5-year term following the May elections. So it's there for members' information and comment.
Thank you very much. It seems a very comprehensive timetable, I must say. Does anybody have any comments? Mrs. Tinsley, your hand is up.
Thank you, Chair. 2 questions really, one concerning compliance and one concerning evaluation. So if the expectation is that certainly new people and those people requiring a refresher will attend, once they've attended, is that the is that the standard that's required, or is there some signing off of I have attended the training and I have understood it and I am satisfied with it? And then following on from that, then what evaluation takes place in terms of, or what happens next? You know, that was a good training, but this case has come up that's raised some issues. Therefore, we now need to refresh the training on that particular item to ensure it covers that particular issue.
Should I take that?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. As part of the training, certainly points relating to whether members have understood the training, have any queries, those are woven into the training, and also opportunities are given to members to liaise with officers outside the training should they wish to do so, and that will be certainly emphasised. At the 2017 training, certainly we did ask for feedback, and I know colleagues in Democratic Services will certainly be reminding, it seems quite a long time ago now for me, 2017, but will be providing a reminder, not just to myself, but my colleagues who will be presenting, of any feedback as a result. So that will be taken on board. I do like the point that you've raised about members signing to say that they've understood and they've attended, and I'll certainly be taking that on board. We do keep a record of those members attending, and you know, that is part of our administrative arrangements. But I certainly do like that idea, so I'm going to borrow that one. Thank you very much, Mrs. Tinsley. you're absolutely right. If there are any cases, any case law that comes out, any fresh guidance from the Ombudsman, as you know, from time to time the Ombudsman will refresh their guidance. That is reissued to members, and when we have new members, they're given further training. And indeed, if members feel that they would wish additional training, that is available. But what I will be doing from following on from the May training in 2022, I will be factoring in formal refresher training. So, and in fact, that is part of Richard Penn's recommendation on the ethical standards, and whether that is adopted by Welsh governments and whether that is introduced into law, that is something which I recognise as good practice, and I will be introducing, of my own accord anyway.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Tinsley. Mr. Watkins?
Yes, information really, Chairman. Is this training, which as you say is very comprehensive, is it intended for all members or all new members?
It is for all members.
All members. And is there a sanction if they don't attend?
With regards to the ethics and standards training, the council, the Vale of Glamorgan Council, resolved, and this was prior to the 2017 elections, that it was mandatory training. And we did, personally, I did train all 47 members of the Vale of Glamorgan Council and also provided training to co-opted members. So it is a mandatory training session. Also the training for planning committee. Before members sit on the planning committee, they must also attend the training. With regards to other courses, I think there's a little bit of flexibility, but Karen might be able to.
Yeah, there. If you look at the programme, you will see that there's some reflection in there about essential for all members, and those were decisions that were taken by the full council that some time ago that all members should be undertaking those training. So we've marked there where they are essential. And also the members have to sign the acceptance of office and abide by the code under the acceptance of office. So that's another arm as well, because they have to abide by that and sign it in front of the Chief Executive.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Gray.
Thank you, Chair. Just prompted by the question Gerwin asked, I think it will feel very different for those members this time if, and I assume we're planning for online or hybrid training as a hybrid council going forwards in terms of delivery. One experience that I certainly had as a new member in 2017 were that members arrived late for training, signed in, and that was their training. And I'm not saying that, as with anything, those who want to learn more seek things out, and there's possibly, for those who are returning members, it's harder to get them enthused on every subject because you join a certain scrutiny committee and you want to join that training. It's expected. As to the question of sanctions, I think that was neatly sidestepped by Debbie because we just make sure that everyone has had it. I don't know that there's ever a moment that you're sanctioned. It's not something within the way that the councillors are contracted to the council. It's not that kind of a relationship. But I certainly got a lot out of the training as a new member. If I'm lucky enough to be re-elected, I will gladly take part in the training. But it'd be interesting to see how people are then able to engage, because I know timings of trainings when it was only physical was hard. So I don't mean any slight against councillors that didn't make the whole sessions, but I think that we'll be able to do it in a more flexible way, and possibly sessions could be accessed, I asked this question, at a time that suited them if there was a recording there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And this whole process has involved everybody, members, those people who need to do the training, and so it's been interesting to see how it develops. I thought I'd just add that to the debate. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's very useful coming from somebody who has been through the training. I think that's a comment more than a question. Thank you very much. Mr. Alexander?
Thank you. I have a slightly different question, which relates to 2.5 of the report and the reference to the council facilitating becoming a councillor open day events, organising those events. And I was interested in that, and I wondered if that event had been run previously, and if so, is it felt that it had been successful in encouraging people to stand as an elected member? Thank you.
We haven't specifically run a specific event like that, but we have been, offered advice to people who wanted to become a candidate. But we have seen the value, and following on from the 2017 elections, the Councillor Gray was saying about feedback. We have seen comments coming back. They would have liked that prior to becoming an elected member. So this is something that we're moving on now, more so, other than giving just general advice to people who ring in or who contact us. We are looking for open day events like this for the future going forward. And hopefully, they'll continue if everybody finds the value in them. Because a lot of members who actually commenced last time said they didn't realise the amount of commitment in relation to the amount of meetings they have to be appointed to and the amount of time that takes. And of course, if you are a working member, it can be difficult for you to join meetings. So really what they wanted was to have full information prior to being a candidate.
I think it's a very useful initiative and I actively support it. I'm also aware, Debbie, that Welsh Government was running a training programme for people that might be interested in standing as local elected members, and I wondered what had happened to that and if it was an initiative that was still ongoing. Thank you.
No, I wasn't aware of that. I don't know whether my colleague was, but we would certainly make inquiries of Welsh Government. But I wasn't aware of that. But thank you for drawing that to our attention.
Well, Mr. Alexander, if you've got any extra information about that, perhaps you can pass it on to Debbie or Karen.
Happy to do so, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think there are no other hands up. Nobody else wants to comment or say anything on that item.
Can I just mention, Chair, for the members' information, that I know you are aware that obviously things are changing in May and we will be having 54 elected members in the Vale. And recently, the Local Government Elections Act has also required changes to the Governance and Audit Committee. And the other week, 3 lay members were appointed and they will be also co-opted members starting from May as well. So there are more members being added, as we speak.
Yes, and if I could just say that that they are albeit I didn't sort of make specific reference, they will be added to the invitation list for the ethics training on the 10th and 11th of May, as we already know that they will be co-opted. They don't take up their posts formally until after the 5th of May.
Right, thank you very much for that. Item 8, correspondence with the Public Services Ombudsman for Wales.
Thank you, Chair. I will give a brief mention because it is in the public domain with regards to one item of correspondence, and that will be the feedback to the Ombudsman as part of our procedure in respect of yesterday's hearing in respect of Councillor Rowlands. So that will form part of the correspondence of advising of the outcome of that hearing, and also as part of the procedure, as members will be aware, there are a number of administrative matters which we'll be attending to. But other than that, the other matters I have are confidential. I'll deal with them under part 2 and when committee decide to move part 2.
Thank you. I assume there are no comments or questions on that. Thank you. Any items which the chairman has decided are urgent? I haven't had any referred to me so far.
No.
No? Right, so that completes part 1.
I'd move part 2, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Can
We'll
I
have a short break? Well,
Can I advise the public then that as we've moved into part 2 officially, we will now be stopping the live streaming. If I could ask the Democratic Services Officer to stop the live streaming, and then we'll go into private session. Thank you.